Alex, can you explain what is myDNA and how does it work?
So myDNA is a genetic test kit that can measure your DNA against a whole heap of markers to tell you more about your nutrition and your fitness.
The science behind myDNA is called nutrigenomics, which studies how our genes can influence the way we respond to diet and exercise.
They'll test your genes, and from that you'll find out things about your diet, the best diet that is suited to you, and from that, you can draw a whole lot of conclusions that can help you. And then when it comes to fitness, it can tell you whether you're better suited to power or endurance types of exercise. It can tell you how often you should work out, and it can even tell you your injury risk.
When I was a kid, I always struggled with my weight, and I've always wondered if my genes were to blame.
Can some people be more disposed to a gaining weight gene or holding onto body fat gene than others?
It's called the FTO gene, and everyone has this gene, but it's the variation of this gene that you have that can tell you more about your tendency to gain weight easier than others. So in terms of nutrition, it can tell you about how well you store fats. It can also tell you about your tendency to overeat or, snack more. myDNA does actually also come with an 8-week meal and fitness plan that is tailored around your genetic results. So it's not a one-fits-all approach.
So with that in mind, I'm going to give it a go. And it's too easy. With a simple cheek swab that collects cells for DNA analysis.
And the other side.
In the back?
That's
It'll take just 3 weeks to process the results, and I can't wait to finally get some answers.
Leave it to the experts, shall we?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, Hines, you still don't know your results, and you very bravely agreed to do it with us right here, right now. And here to deliver the verdict, myDNA CEO Lior Rauchberger joins us. Lior, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Are you ready, Hinesy, to find out what the verdict is?
I'm actually a little bit nervous, to be honest. I've avoided the results at all costs, so I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Okay, let's start. We looked at some markers around your fitness and your nutrition.
Yep.
So let's start with the nutrition and the weight loss, shall we?
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so, well, the good news is you can ring your parents and thank them because they've actually dealt you a pretty good deck of cards.
Yes, thank you,
But
Mum and Dad.
there are a few areas we need to watch. So in the FTO gene, which is all about our appetite and our sense of feeling full and the tendency to overeat, which is a problem with a lot of us, your result is not brilliant.
Okay.
It's not terrible. You're kind of somewhere in the middle.
Can I explain that actually resonates with me? A lot of people look at me and they go, he's fit, he's got it all together, it's fine. It's actually the opposite. I do struggle with cravings, and if I don't exercise and I don't eat well, I do put on body fat. This isn't a woe is me, it's just the reality.
Interesting. Well, your DNA profile supports that. So people with your profile, and I actually have a similar profile, there's 2 major issues that you have. One is that your brain doesn't get the right signal that you've had enough to eat. So you tend to have a second or a third serve of pasta when perhaps you didn't need it.
Yeah, I think I've got that. I've done no tests, but I'm pretty sure that I've got that too.
So, and then the second thing around cravings that you mentioned, Luke, which is interesting, is that when your brain, and this is actually scientifically proven, when it sees fatty or high sugary foods, you just can't stop yourself.
Mate, you are talking my language. And I have to say, could this explain why as a kid I struggled with my weight? My nickname was Buddha because everyone would rub my big belly for good luck. It's kind of funny now.
Is that a really common, like if you look at the population, is that one of the most common things that you see in the testing?
So there's 3 variants for this particular weight and obesity gene, and it's I think it's about 40% of the population has this variant, but we looked at actually 7 different genes in Luke. So we looked at a whole, and this is sort of a combination of them all put together. But that gene, it's interesting that you struggle with weight when you're younger because people that have that profile, they have 20 to 30% higher chance of, if they don't manage their portions, and of being overweight.
Now, Hinesy, it sounds like you're pretty across your profile, and obviously it's been reaffirmed by the DNA test. Are you going to change anything on the back of some of this today?
Yeah, look, it gives me reassurance to start off with that, how I'm thinking and feeling about food is correct due to my genes, but also it makes me really aware of what might work for me. So when it comes to food, I've got to be mindful of snacking and overeating. What about exercise and movement?
So, and the last on the snacking and overeating is obviously portion control, but the diet that you should be on, if you had to pick a diet, rather than guessing, because there's so many diets out
type?
It's a high protein diet.
High protein.
High protein diet will work best for Luke. And
Where do
for
the
his
fats
body.
and carbs fit?
So you need to have a low fat,
Yep.
omega-3, and high protein diet.
Does that work for you?
I have to tell you that this is the opposite of what I'm
Really?
doing. I'm high fat, low carb, very low carb, and moderate protein. So this is literally spinning my head on, spinning my hair on its
Good
head.
news is you can write another cookbook,
there
and
you go.
away you go.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you, Lior, how... I feel like this is a really great thing to arm people who aren't necessarily very fit but have never had the right keys to make their training work for them. They're like, I'm exercising, I feel like I eat well, but I never lose weight. This is a really helpful thing for them.
Well, we hear that all the time. People are frustrated, and we did a bit of research. We surveyed 2,000 Chemist Warehouse customers, and about 80% of people have said they've tried this diet, they've tried that diet, and they just get despondent and frustrated, and they just can't keep the weight off. And because many of them are not eating the right types of foods and the right diet that's best suited for their body makeup.
So what's the take-home message for all of this?
So I think that the key is stop guessing. You know, we want to all live healthier, we want to be well, we want to move better and eat better. And there's so much guesswork and trial and error that goes on, and it doesn't need to be that way. With the latest science, with a simple DNA test, you can get simple insights about what's best for you and your body and the genes that you, for good or bad, inherited from your parents.
Thank you so much.
It's a fascinating field and a very simple test that Lior put Heinzie through. So if you want to check it out, it's a simple swab. Well done, Heinzie, for exposing
Thanks,
yourself
guys. I appreciate
today in the
it.
name of education. And thanks to Lior Ratchberger. Good to catch up with you, Lior.